We've been told that love should come naturally, that when you meet the right person, everything just clicks. But that's not love, that's chemistry. And chemistry fades. The truth is, the best relationships, the ones that last, the ones that fulfill us, the ones that build us, they aren't built on feelings, they're built on intention. The best relationship advice you'll ever hear is this: start with why. Why are you in this relationship? What brought you together beyond attraction, beyond convenience, beyond pressure? And if you don't know your shared purpose, your deeper reason for being with someone, then the relationship becomes vulnerable to every passing storm. But when you share a vision, when you're both committed to something greater than yourselves, then you've built a relationship that's anchored. And once you know your why, you need safety, emotional safety. That means you don't win by being right, you win by being real. Love doesn't survive where there's fear, it survives where there's presence, where you can tell the truth, be vulnerable, admit you're scared, and not be punished for it. It's not about avoiding conflict, it's about knowing that conflict won't cost you the connection. We talk a lot about love, about passion, about chemistry, about compatibility, but rarely do we talk about safety, emotional safety. And yet, without it, no relationship can survive, not in a healthy, meaningful way. Because love isn't built in grand gestures. It's built in the quiet moments when you feel safe enough to be fully yourself in front of another person. Unfiltered, unedited, unguarded. Insecure people build walls, but safe people build bridges. And relationships need bridges, because no matter how strong the connection starts, life has a way of testing it. There will be misunderstandings, there will be tough days, there will be moments where you're not at your best. And the question isn't, will that happen? It's when it does, do I feel safe enough to be seen? You can't love someone deeply if you're walking on eggshells around them, if you're constantly managing their reactions. If you're afraid that being honest will make them leave, that's not love, that's performance. And performance is exhausting. Real love makes room for your humanity. It says, even when you're struggling, even when you're scared, even when you don't have it all together, I'm still here. That's what emotional safety looks like. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing that imperfection won't cost you the relationship. Think about the people you open up to most easily. They're the ones who don't interrupt, don't fix, don't dismiss. They just hold space. They let you feel. They let you talk. They let you be. That's what great partners do. They don't just love you when you're confident. They love you when you're confused. They don't just support your successes. They support your healing. And here's the hard part. It's not just about finding someone who gives you that safety. It's about becoming that safe place for someone else. We often think, if only I had a partner who made me feel secure. But the real growth comes when you ask, do I make them feel safe? Can they bring their fears to you without judgment? Can they cry in front of you without shame? Can they tell you hard truths knowing they won't be punished for their honesty? We create emotional safety through consistency, through how we respond when things get uncomfortable. It's in the way we listen without defensiveness, in the way we apologize without making excuses, in the way we hold each other accountable with love, not control. You can tell how safe someone feels in a relationship not by how much they laugh, but by how much they reveal. If someone never shares their doubts, their insecurities, their inner world, it's not because they don't have them. It's because they don't feel safe enough to let you in. So if you want a relationship that lasts, not just in time, but in depth, focus less on the surface and more on the soil. Safety is the soil. Trust grows there. Intimacy grows there. And love, real love, doesn't exist without it. Because at the end of the day, the best relationships are not made of perfect people. They're made of safe spaces, places where people can be raw, messy, and real, and still be loved. Not in spite of it, but because of it. That's what makes love sustainable. That's what makes love work. Love without emotional safety is like a house without a foundation. It may look good for a while, but the moment a storm hits, it crumbles. We often get so caught up in attraction, excitement, and passion that we forget what truly sustains a relationship through the long haul. It's not the thrill, it's not the romance, it's safety. Emotional safety that allows love to take root and grow. Emotional safety means being able to show up fully as yourself without fear of rejection, ridicule, or retaliation. It's knowing that when you speak your truth, even if it's messy or uncomfortable, the other person won't weaponize it against you. It's knowing that your vulnerability won't be used as ammunition in the next argument. In a safe relationship, Silence doesn't feel like punishment, and honesty doesn't feel like a risk. When two people feel emotionally safe with each other, something powerful happens. They stop performing. They stop editing themselves. They start communicating with honesty instead of calculation. That's when real intimacy begins. It's not created through candlelit dinners or romantic getaways. It's built in the moments where you're brave enough to say, I'm scared, I don't know, or I need help. And the response is compassion, not criticism. Many relationships break down not because the love is gone, but because people no longer feel safe enough to express who they really are. When emotional safety disappears, people shut down. They stop sharing. They begin to guard their words, not out of respect, but out of fear. Conversations become surface level. Conflict becomes a threat, not a path to deeper connection. And when fear replaces trust, distance sets in. Being emotionally safe doesn't mean you avoid conflict. It means that conflict doesn't threaten the bond between you. You can disagree without being devalued. You can make mistakes without being made to feel small. You can say, I'm not okay, and know that your partner won't turn away. That level of trust doesn't happen overnight. It's earned. It's proven in how you show up day after day, especially when things get hard. And this is key. Emotional safety is not just something you receive, it's something you create. We're so quick to want safety from others, but rarely ask if we're a safe space ourselves. Do we truly listen without interrupting or defending? Do we stay present when our partner is vulnerable, or do we rush to fix it, minimize it, or change the subject? Do we take responsibility when we've hurt someone, or do we get defensive and shift the blame? Creating a safe relationship requires maturity. It means choosing to understand before trying to be understood. It means creating a space where both people can be human, imperfect, emotional, ever-changing, and still be met with love, not judgment. It's in the tone we use. It's in the patience we show. It's in the little daily choices to be kind instead of critical, curious instead of controlling. The strongest relationships are not built on perfection, they're built on protection. The kind that says, your heart is safe here. You don't have to pretend. That's the kind of love that allows people to grow. That's the kind of love that lasts. Emotional safety isn't a luxury in a relationship, it's the foundation. Without it, nothing else stands for long. Because at the end of the day, love that feels unsafe is not love, it's survival by Amazon. And we weren't meant to just survive our relationships, we were meant to thrive in them. It's easy to point the finger. It's easy to say, if only they were more understanding, if only they communicated better, if only they appreciated me more. But relationships don't change because we wait. They change because someone decides to lead. The most powerful shift you can make in any relationship is to stop expecting and start becoming. They are the version of spice you wouldn't put. Be the partner you wish they were. Be the leader you wish they were. Leadership in a relationship doesn't mean control. It doesn't mean dominance. It means responsibility. It means choosing to show up with the values, behaviors, and emotional maturity that create growth. It means being proactive instead of reactive. It means being the example instead of waiting for the change. When something feels off in your relationship, don't start by fixing the other person. Start by asking yourself, what energy am I bringing into this space? Are you calm or are you tense? Are you open or guarded? Are you patient or critical? The emotional climate of a relationship is heavily influenced by the tone we set, even when we don't realize it. Being the leader you wish they were means being willing to go first. You want more vulnerability? Then share something personal. You want more kindness? Then act with compassion even when it's not returned immediately. You want more appreciation? Start by giving it freely. When you lead with love, respect, and consistency, you create a mirror, and people tend to rise to the energy they're surrounded by. The truth is, most people are afraid to go first. We hold back because we fear being taken for granted. We think, why should I be the one to always initiate? Why should I be the one to change? But that's not strength, that's ego. True leadership requires courage. It's not about being right, it's about being effective. It's about deciding what kind of relationship you want and being willing to embody that standard, even if you're the only one doing it at first. You can't lead from fear. You can't inspire growth in someone by shaming them or punishing them. You lead with your presence, with your example. And the impact of that kind of leadership is profound. It softens defensiveness. It invites trust. It creates a space where change is possible because the relationship feels safe enough to evolve. Now, this doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. Being a leader doesn't mean accepting disrespect or abandoning your needs. It means standing firm in your values while still leading with empathy. It means knowing when to hold space and when to set a boundary. It means being clear, not cold, honest, not harsh. You don't lead to manipulate, you lead because you know that love, when handled well, is transformational. When one person steps up with integrity, it calls the other person to do the same, not by force, but by example. That's the kind of influence that lasts. That's the kind of energy that changes relationships from the inside out. Waiting for your partner to become what you need is a passive way to live. Choosing to become what the relationship needs is a powerful way to lead. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. Every act of patience, every moment of clarity, every time you show up with love when it's hard, that's leadership. If you want a stronger relationship, stop keeping score. Stop waiting for them to move first. Start leading with who you are, because real change doesn't begin when they finally get it right. It begins the moment you do. In relationships, one of the fastest ways to create distance is through judgment. It happens almost instinctively. We interpret, we assume, we label. We decide that our partner is being selfish, lazy, dramatic, cold, needy. And the moment we assign those labels, we stop listening, we stop seeking to understand. Judgment shuts the door, curiosity opens it. Replacing judgment with curiosity is one of the most transformational shifts you can make in how you relate to your partner. Because judgment says, I already know who you are and what you meant. But curiosity says, I'm open to learning something I might not see yet. One mindset blocks connection, the other invites it. When someone we love disappoints us, it's tempting to go straight into conclusions. We assume bad intent. We tell ourselves stories about why they did what they did. They don't care. They're doing this on purpose. They should know better. But what if, instead of assuming the worst, we paused and asked, what else could be going on here? That question alone can dissolve so much unnecessary conflict. Curiosity allows us to ask better questions. Instead of, why are you like this, we ask, what are you feeling right now? Instead of, what's wrong with you, we ask, what happened that made you respond this way? We begin to see the fear under the anger, the insecurity under the silence, the need for closeness under the distance. Curiosity helps us remember that behavior is a form of communication, not a personal attack. The truth is, we all have stories, patterns, and wounds that shape how we show up in relationships. And your partner is not exempt from that. Maybe they pull away during conflict because they grew up in a home where fighting meant danger. Maybe they get defensive because they were never taught how to feel safe in vulnerability. You don't have to excuse bad behavior, but understanding the root of it gives you the power to respond with clarity instead of reaction. This shift takes maturity. It's easy to sit in judgment. It gives us a false sense of control. It allows us to feel superior. But relationships are not about who's right and who's wrong. They're about staying connected, especially when it's hard. And that connection begins with curiosity, a willingness to look deeper, to listen longer, to hold space for complexity instead of demanding simplicity. Curiosity also changes how we view ourselves in conflict. Instead of defending your point or waiting for your turn to speak, you begin to ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? You look inward. You become aware of your own triggers. That self-awareness gives you more power, not less. It allows you to respond intentionally rather than impulsively. When you bring curiosity into a conversation, you lower the emotional temperature. You stop fueling the fire. You turn the moment into an invitation instead of a battle. That's when the real communication begins. That's when healing becomes possible. Because when people feel safe enough to be understood, they stop protecting themselves with walls. They start showing you what's really going on. Relationships thrive when both people feel seen, not judged. And the only way to truly see someone is through curiosity. You don't need to agree with everything. You don't need to fix everything. But if you're willing to stay open, to ask, to listen, to care, you'll create a space where real connection can grow. Curiosity is not weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to stay open when you feel hurt. It takes wisdom to listen when you'd rather argue. But that's what love requires. Not certainty, not control, but curiosity. The kind that says, help me understand you. Help me see what you're feeling. Because that's how we stop fighting each other and start fighting for each other. Relationships don't thrive on momentum. They thrive on intention. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that once the relationship is strong, once the love is deep, they can relax, that the bond will carry itself. But love isn't a machine you switch on and leave running. It's more like a garden that needs daily tending, daily presence. You really care. You don't get to build it once and expect it to run on autopilot. You have to keep building it every single day. In the beginning of a relationship, effort comes naturally. We pay attention. We plan dates. We ask deep questions. We show appreciation, give compliments, stay curious. But over time, as comfort sets in, effort can quietly disappear. The very things that brought you close begin to fade, not because the love is gone, but because intention has been replaced by routine. And routine without presence becomes disconnection. The truth is, love, left unchecked, becomes silent. Communication becomes mechanical. Affection becomes assumed. And then one day you wake up next to someone who feels like a stranger. Not because something big happened, but because nothing did. The relationship wasn't broken by crisis. It simply eroded from neglect. You don't need grand gestures to build a great relationship. You need consistency. You need to show up on the ordinary days, not just the anniversaries and holidays. Ask them how they're really doing. Put the phone down when they speak. Offer a compliment when they're not expecting it. Take 5 minutes to express gratitude, not for what they've done, but for who they are. These small moments, done often, matter more than any big romantic surprise. What most people don't realize is that love is a verb. It's not something you fall into, it's something you do. It's the daily practice of showing up with care, patience, respect, and curiosity. And the beautiful part? When you make this a habit, it creates emotional momentum. Not the kind that fades with time, but the kind that deepens with trust. Building the relationship daily means paying attention even when things feel fine. It's easy to work on a relationship when things are falling apart. But the healthiest relationships are built when everything is going well and you still choose to grow. You don't wait for distance to start connecting. You don't wait for conflict to start communicating. You choose to invest because love that is nurtured daily becomes resilient when tested. And it's not just about what you give, it's also about what you protect. Protect the tone you use with each other. Protect the way you speak during conflict. Protect the rituals that make you feel close. Protect the space to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. If these small acts create a relationship that doesn't just survive life's storms, it weathers them with grace. People think that passion fades over time. But that's not entirely true. What fades is novelty. What dies is attention. But passion can deepen when two people continue to choose each other, not just out of habit, but with intention. You keep learning about them, you keep growing with them, you keep showing them that they matter, not with words alone, but with effort. The strongest couples aren't the ones who had the best start. They're the ones who kept showing up even when life got busy, even when things got hard, even when they didn't feel like it. Because they understood that love isn't built once, it's built every day. So ask yourself, what did I do today to build this relationship? Not in a pressure-filled way, but in a purposeful one. Because every moment you choose to show up with love, you lay another brick. And those bricks stacked day by day become the kind of foundation that nothing can shake. Falling in love with someone is a beautiful beginning, but it's just that, a beginning. What sustains love over time isn't just who the person is, it's how you both show up, grow together, and build something meaningful brick by brick. Real love isn't just about being with the right person, it's about falling in love with the process of becoming the right partner again and again. Because no matter how wonderful the connection is at the start, relationships are not static. They are living, evolving, ever-changing processes. And if you're not willing to fall in love with that process, the relationship will eventually feel like it's standing still, even if the love is still there. When you focus only on the person, it's easy to become attached to how they made you feel in the beginning, the excitement, the validation, the attention. But those feelings naturally shift over time. If you're not invested in the process of love, of deepening trust, working through conflict, learning how to meet each other's needs, then when the high wears off, you'll feel lost. You think the love is gone when really the process has just begun. The process of love requires effort, vulnerability, and self-awareness. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting. It often asks you to face parts of yourself that are uncomfortable. You'll be challenged to unlearn old habits, to communicate more clearly, to listen more deeply, to hold space when all you want is to defend yourself. It's messy, it's emotional, and sometimes it's exhausting, but it's also where the magic lives. Falling in love with the process means showing up on the days when it would be easier to withdraw. It means learning how to repair after conflict instead of pretending nothing happened. It means choosing to see the good in your partner when you're frustrated and staying curious about who they're becoming instead of assuming you already know them. Because people change. And love that lasts is love that evolves with those changes. Too often, people fall in love with the idea of someone, the version of them they imagined at the beginning, but that version was just a snapshot in time. To love someone in real life means choosing them through every season, not just when it's easy. It means embracing the process of rediscovering each other over and over again. The couples who grow together aren't the ones who avoid problems. They're the ones who are committed to navigating them with respect, patience, and honesty. The process is also about falling in love with your own growth within the relationship. The right relationship should stretch you, not break you. It should invite you to become more of who you truly are, not less. And that means doing your own work, taking responsibility for your triggers, being willing to apologize, and continuing to develop emotional maturity. The relationship will reflect the level of intention you bring to it. Loving the process also teaches you resilience. You stop expecting perfection. You stop panicking when things feel off. You begin to trust that the relationship can handle hard conversations, miscommunications, and even moments of disconnection because you're both committed to doing the work. You don't just bail when things feel uncomfortable. You lean in because you understand that every struggle is a chance to go deeper, not fall apart. The person you love may be incredible, but the relationship you build together is what truly determines the strength of your connection. When you fall in love with the process, you start to appreciate the slow beauty of building something real. You start to understand that true intimacy is crafted, not found. And you realize that love at its best is not a destination you reach. It's a journey you choose to take every day.